Welcome to the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. It's a spectacular and brilliant place to hold the fourth of the 5 rounds of the 2020 GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Series, and margins are going to be tiny between success and failure. The drivers are going to have to be at their very best on this wonderful old school circuit. Dries Van Toor and Charles Weerts arrive in Kent with their team WRT still fired up by winning at Le Mans, but they are way clear on points and they could possibly even wrap it up here this weekend.
We don't have to take stupid risks, especially considering the fact that the weekend is so compact. So now it's going to be a matter of scoring points, and okay, if we can get a podium or even a win, that's for sure going to be great. But this is not our main targets. We just want to at least keep the same gap or even increase our lead. And if this means being twice P5 or something like this, then we would not take any risk for that.
The lone McLaren entered at Brands Hatch is brought here by local team Jota Sport for a pair of British drivers, Oliver Wilkinson and Ben Barnicut, and they're really fired up by a strong run to 7th place in the Spa 24 Hours.
Really excited to be here. It's for a British driver to be racing at Brands Hatch is quite a big thing. I think we've shown some really good progress with Jota and McLaren throughout the season, especially coming off the back of Spa 24 where we finished 7th.
Raffaele Marcello comes here in 2nd place in the championship, and he knows, as does Timo Boguslawski, they need almost a mishap from their rivals, Weerts and Van Toor.
We have to hope that Audi they have some kind of problem and they lose some points. Because we had that 0 in Zandvoort, and I think this one is quite big in the championship. So we have to do well, try to win the race, to score a lot of points, and we have to hope the Audi they have sort of any problem. I know it's bad to say, but it's the way it has to be.
Garage 59 has brought a pair of Aston Martin Vantages to Brands Hatch, and 4-time British GT champion Johnny Adam shares its Pro-Am Challenger with Alexander West, hoping to win by slightly more than the 1,000th of a second they managed at Misano.
Looking forward to this weekend, a home event for Aston Martin and Garage 59, and a circuit I know well. It's one of my firm favourites, is Brands Hatch GP, and we'll see. We've come off a great result with Misano and Sprint with Alex, and we want to carry that momentum into this weekend. So we've got one aim this weekend, and that's a few podiums.
Last year Chris Froggatt scooped the Pro-Am honours with Eddie Cheever III. This year he's racing with the experienced Italian racer Giorgio Roda in the Silver Cup class, and though he's a British racer extraordinarily, Chris Froggatt has never competed at Brands Hatch before. He's got to learn, and fast.
In sprint, it's going to be tough for us to really have a really good result in terms of championship now. We're quite far behind with some unfortunate results before, so we're really looking forward, looking to have a podium, and that would be a great way to sort of celebrate a home race, and that's the ambition.
Points continue to be gathered for the Fanatec GT World Challenge powered by AWS. 7 manufacturers fighting for global glory in the 3 championships around the planet. And it really is tightening up towards the end of the season. Let's take a look at the scores as they stand. And leading the way, but only by a very small margin, it's Mercedes ahead of Lamborghini, and in 3rd place it's Audi Sport. But points changing with every single race. Let's see who wins. It's a warm Sunday morning at Brands Hatch, and the first of 2 races today for the Fanatec GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS Sprint Cup. One this morning, one this afternoon, and the track, John Watson, is made for racing. It's made for tight action. Great to have fans coming in and occupying the grandstands and all the edges of the circuit, so it's got a special atmosphere this morning. Let's take a look at the order on the grid. Timo Boguslawski, the 88 Mercedes on pole. Charles Weerts, the dominant championship leader in the number 32 Audi, will start on the uphill side. Ben Barnicut took pole, but his McLaren will be starting 3rd. Lucas Stoltz, good to see them back on form for Sport WRT, will be 4th. Ricardo Feller leading Silver Club Challenger in 5th, and Pierre-Alexandre Jean, also a silver ranked driver in his Bentley, on the outside of row 3. Row 4, Constantine Lapalainen, the 2nd of the Emil Frey Racing Lamborghinis, and Patrick Kujala, who goes better and better in the Rinaldi Racing Ferrari. Then Ezekiel Perez-Compok, he of Mad Panda Motorsport in his Mercedes, alongside Finnish racer Juuso Pohakka in the 2nd of the Sport WRT Mercedes. And what really always strikes me at Brands Hatch, they just seem to be even closer than ever together as they come round in their 2x2 formation. Of course, all eyes will be as they sweep onto the start-finish straight on the starting gantry. The formation lap is nearly over, and looks like Raffaele Marcello is going to get a good start from pole position. The lights go green, he's blasted, and it looks as though the Barnicoat McLaren will get into second place. Does so easily. Lucas Stoltz now up the inside of Charles Weerts. Charles Weerts sitting on a very large points lead. They want to consolidate, but he doesn't want to lose many more places. And Patrick Kujla trying to take a sweep around the outside, getting put on the grass, and wide he went, edge wide by Weerts up at Druids, very tight, but actually no contact.
Yeah, well, Ben Barnicoat's trying to squeeze through, get past the Mercedes, and he's had a couple of little bumps from the rear as the field is so compact as they come down now through Graham Hill Bend, beginning to finally string out a little the short straight that leads into Surtees. That's the late apex corner that leads then onto the quickest part of the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, down Pilgrim's Drop.
You could hardly put a piece of paper between a lot of the cars. Some are 2 by 2 as they approach Pilgrim's Drop. Side by side they go, but up front we've got to challenge Ben Barnicoat. A, past the Mercedes of Timo Bogoslawski, but B, around the outside into Hawthorns. That is 2 points on the chart. So Lucas Stoltz also trying, oh, dearie me, up onto the curbing on the inside, but Bogoslawski puts Stoltz wide, giving a chance for those behind. But up front, thank you very much for Ben Barnicoat. He looks like he's going to escape now.
Yes, and again, but you can see what's happened, that the position that Lucas Stoltz had just gained has been lost once again to Timo Bogoslawski, who's been having to defend heavily from Ben Barnicoat. That one's lost. Barnicoat's up the road and gone, but Lucas Stoltz is still behind the 88 Mercedes, and he will want to execute a pass as quickly as possible to get clear. And of course, further back behind the Mercedes, you've got the 32 Audi. That was the car that was starting on the front of the grid with Charles Weerts behind the wheel. So still very tight. The Bentley running close behind the Audi into Paddock Hill Bend.
Well, that's an extraordinary escape. 2.3, nearly 2.4 seconds to good for Ben Barnicoat. He was very upset to lose pole position, but he's making amends now up the inside. Frank Bird showing that he really wants to get into the top 10. He started 12th and certainly making very good progress with Team WRT. He's up into about 8th place. Yes, it is 8th, so now he's gone past Buhaka. Chris Froggatt pressing on in the middle of the pack to Sky Tempesta Racing. His first race, despite being a British racer, here at Brands Hatch. So it's super tight, apart from the gap between first and second. 2.8, 2.4 seconds and stretching all the time.
But let's look and see. This is the opening lap, Bruce.
Well, absolute intent from Ben Barnicoat. Up Hawthorns Hill, he had more momentum coming out of Surtees, used the slipstream from Timo Bogoslawski around the outside. This is it from on board, looking back from Bogoslawski's number 88 ACA ASP Mercedes. I'm coming. Which side are you going? Around the outside. That's all I'm offering you. Oh, but your speed is so much in the McLaren that I can't even hold you back. And then suddenly, this is where Bogoslawski got a little bit rattled, because he was slightly compromised into Hawthorns and then hit the curbs on the inside at Westfield, and Stoltz very nearly took second place. Just waiting to see what the gap is this time. Ben Barnicoat ahead of Bogoslawski. Will it be about 9 seconds? Just waiting to see. The race pace is still very strong at the front. It's 8.89 seconds, so getting close to 9 seconds. This is a fabulous run, a dream run for Barnicoat in the Jota McLaren.
It's actually the first time in this race that we've seen a car other than the lead McLaren have a lap that improves upon the 38 McLaren. So Thomas Bogoslawski, he's picking up the pace. At the same time, Ben Barnicoat's pace has just dropped away fractionally. He's just got under 9 seconds advantage. I'm sure we'd like to ride that out to a 10-second, because that gives the team then a lot more opportunity to pick and choose the point where they're going to come in. Absolutely,
it gives them the options, and options are great. Now the Silver Cup battle, it's between the 107 Bentley, Pierre-Alexandre Jean in 5th, and tucked in behind Riccardo Feller, just coming into shot, the Lamborghini with the white bonnet. The sister car, the 114, Consul Lapalainen, has got the blue bonnet, just coming into the background of the shot. Patrick Kujla is looking a little bit frustrated, tucked in behind Riccardo Feller. Expect the Ferrari driver to take a look. He's been very strong in that car all season. And if you look a little bit further back down the field to 24th position, 24th through to 28th, the last 5 positions, all Pro-Am runners. Louis Shields, the AF Corsa entry, car number 52, is just, he got the jump on the start of the Barwell Motorsport Lamborghini, Miguel Ramos, so he's got it in front, but it's very close, nose to tail, and a good run from Kevin C on his debut in the championship. He's got the Ram Racing Mercedes up to 3rd in class. Look at the speeds. Louis Shields, fastest of all through the speed trap in his Ferrari. He's leading the Pro-Am class. He's down in 24th, but 141 kph. That's very impressive into Paddock Hill Bend. Oh, have we got a passing manoeuvre that's going to be completed? Yes, we have the 99 Audi in the hands. It's middle order. Just trying to see. That's Arkinaka. Alex Arkinaka makes the move on the Mercedes, on the Aston Martin, and gets the job done, passing Thomas Tuijala. And Ben Barnicoat continues to strip clear, 11.1 seconds to good. There is no challenge from behind. He can just keep on stretching his legs, and that's precisely what he's doing. So who's smashed the board on the outside of the circuit? I'm afraid there can be no denying. That was unfortunate for Alex Arca. That's why he lost a position to Konstantin Tereshchenko in the 87 Mercedes. Said thank you very much.
So on to the quickest part of the racetrack, and again you can see the gap literally almost by the metre or the yard is extending in favour of the Bentley. Riccardo Fella sitting there watching the Bentley just steam away. What was maybe a couple of car lengths on the exit of Surtees ends up being about 3 or 4 or 5 car lengths. Again now under brakes into Westfield. Fella takes loads of inside curbing and some of the grass, but to no avail.
It's so frustrating, but again, look at the speeds. Again, it's the Pro-Am runners that are really featuring. Going into Hawthorne's 197 kph for Miguel Ramos, the SRO Motorsport Lamborghini. So astonishing. Julian Potlos in the Porsche, second
Down the
fastest.
inside this time.
Well, it was a better run last time. Last time he got the closest he'd been before. This time even closer. But look, the Bentley, well, it can't get its power down. He was pushed a little bit wide there. Great move by Fella, and he's going to hold it and gain that 5th place, gain the lead in the Silver Cup class. But if the Bentley goes wide, there's a challenge from behind for the Rinaldi Ferrari, getting very close. Looks inside, looks outside, and unfortunately for Patrick Kushner, the door is closed. But unfortunately, it wasn't closed in time at Clearways.
No, and that was all because of a good run out of Stirling's for Riccardo Fella. And this time he decided, I'm going to make it, I'm going to be forceful. And there was a little bit of rub as they came down into Clearways, but it allowed the Lamborghini to get the inside going into Clearways, which forced the Bentley wide onto the slightly dirtier part of the corner. And therefore, as you said, couldn't get power down quite as quickly as would ordinarily do.
Now, the big question, running in 4th place, Charles Wirtz, no pressure from behind. He's got a gap of 4 seconds back to Riccardo Fella. It's not closing. They can pick and choose, John. They really can wait long, go early. They can have a look. But of course, Team WRT have 3 cars to service. And Charles Wirtz looking cool, calm and collected there, just waiting for the instruction from the team. All you can do is keep pressing on, keep it clean, keep it tidy.
Whoa.
Tidy, don't I say?
Well, a little bit of oversteer there on the entry and a bit on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend for Charles Wirtz. So he's, and again, I mean, the back end of the car looking very unstable.
Second, third and 4th, all coming in. Boguslawski, Stoltz and Wirtz, absolutely right choice for Wirtz as far as I'm concerned. The pit lane really pretty clear. That Bertolini Ferrari has pulled away from the garage area near the WRT area, so that should be fine for Charles Wirtz to be able to hand over without too much pressure again at Dries Van Tor.
So the 2 Mercedes we've got on picture, the Audi just pulling into its box now, and is that the Lamborghini that's followed in as well? So here we are. Get this change done. You've got enough time to make it. I mean, you've got to do the lap belts up. There's other radio connections if you may have a drinks bottle. The rolling, the number 6 is rolling, as is the 88. So it's a status quo for those 2 Mercedes. The Audi's trying to squeeze in between the 88 and the number 6. Don't know. Yes, it managed it. So that was a little cheeky move. That's something that number 6 Mercedes will have been devastated. TalkSport WRT will feel that was opportunistic, but that's what you have to do. So the Ferrari Patrick Kushner has decided to come in from provisional 3rd place. So the lead is still Ben Barnicoat. Now the gap between 1st and 2nd, still the Bentley in 2nd place. It was 27 seconds. It's now up to 30.2 seconds. So in that last lap, the McLaren pulled out a further 2 and a bit seconds. Okay, the Bentley was not running naturally in 2nd place. It's found itself there as a consequence of the pit stop window being open. So there is Ollie Wilkinson. So they're going to make a pit stop while they've still got the opportunity. We're only basically midway through. But the lead McLaren looks like it's going to make that pit stop. The pit lane is relatively empty. So Oliver Wilkinson walks back into the garage. We're still coming through into the end of the 2nd sector of the circuit.
But only now is, for the first time in the race, Ben Barnicoat has got traffic ahead of him. He's got one of the Sansalot Racing Audis, but I think maybe this time he will sweep into the pit lane. Maybe not, but he just hasn't had to be compromised by one single car in this race as yet.
And that, if they do choose to come in, would be just looking to see how they brought the car in.
No, it's still out on the circuit.
No, it's not. It's in the pit lane.
It's now to stand still. They're further up the pit lane.
So the reason they've done that are primarily because they were, as you pointed out, Bruce, they were catching up to the tail of the field, and the momentum that this car have been able to carry all the way through the opening laps would have been then affected. So bring Ben Barnicoat in, do the driver change, let Oliver Wilkinson get back into the car, and hopefully then when he returns to the field as the Bentley itself comes in, they will then end up in a situation not unlike the one that they were in the first part. So all ifs, ands or buts, it depends on the pit stop being efficient and get the car rolling. Come on, Ollie, get the thing rolling. What's the problem? There we are. Time lost. That was a little bit slower than it necessarily needed to be. The car was off the jacks. It should have been rolling a bit quicker.
But look, Raffaele Marcello in second place is only just sweeping through clearways into Clark Curve, and already the McLaren released. Ollie Wilkinson also has pretty clear track ahead of him, but he hit the curb on the inside there, pushed it wide. Just got to keep it cool, calm and collected. Chris Froggatt still hasn't pitted, nor has Norbert Siedler, but everyone else has had their visit. But let's hear from the driver who poured away from the second row, took the lead. It's Ben Barnicoat. He's been joined in the pits by Gemma Scott. Let's hear.
Ben, quite rightly, you got out of the car there, delighted with your stint. An incredible drive.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was very frustrated not to be starting where we should have been on the front row, on the pole position, but, you know, it's what it is. I just dealt with it. And yeah, had an amazing first lap, got into lead, and then just got my head down from there. So built up as big as gap as I could. Now this is the most hard part, watching Ollie try and bring it home.
Absolutely. Maybe we should fire you up a bit more often, eh?
Yeah, it seems to have worked, you know.
So this is a replay coming up, looking at the Team Allied Racing Porsche running well. The track turns right, and the driver did not at that particular point. So a rough moment there for the Team Allied Racing Porsche. It does rejoin eventually, but the gap is down to 1.2 seconds.
Yes, and I mean, really, it's academic. It's, what, 5 car lengths now. Momentum is still favouring the 88 Mercedes-Benz. Oliver Wilkins is looking forward. Who else have I got to then deal with? Am I going to get assistance or not?
Well, the next car he's got in front of him is Nikolai Kjærgaard. This is the 159 Garage 59 Aston Martin that had to serve a drive-through penalty. Would be higher up the order, and they will be caught soon. Fantastic battle from 6th place backwards. Ria Chiritomito, Rick Breukers, Fred Verviche, Oscar Tuncho, Ulysses Depot and Arthur Rougier. Very seldom a gap of more than a second between any of those, so they'll start to run nose to tail.
So what is Wilkinson able to do? Oh, look at the slide from Marcello as he came out of Graham Hill Bend. He was on the gas really early. The back end of the Mercedes swung out on a good old traditional 4-wheel slide or drift. That doesn't do your rear tyres a whole load of good, but doesn't half look good on TV. Watch Marcello this time out of Sterling's. Looks like he's as close as he's been at any point, but being defended by Wilkinson now. The better entry into the corner will be for the Mercedes. Runs wide on the exit. Wilkinson has to go wide because he was a tight line. So this is the closest in reality, other than the one occasion into Surtees. Marcello close onto the back. Thinks about, will he make a move up the inside? Will he make a move up the outside? Didn't help himself by running wide on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend.
And the cavalry is coming to the assistance of Jota Sport, because look, the 3rd place car, Dries Vanthoor, is getting closer and closer. He's down to 1.5 seconds off the tail of the 88 Mercedes. Marcello, another chance, running very, very wide at Graham Hill Bend. Every little slip up lets the championship leader get on the tail, and that could buy a tiny bit of respite for the race leader, Ollie Wilkinson. And again, different lines through Surtees, John.
There's no way you can go around the outside at Surtees, but you can sort of get yourself lined up to get a good run off the corner, and that's what Marcello was trying to do. But again, straight line speed of the McLaren just about enough to keep the Mercedes at bay. And again, a different line through the corner, having now to think hard and what am I going to do? I'm trying to run my natural pace, and I'm still being run down by Marcello. And I still think the McLaren is a slightly more tricky car, particularly off Graham Hill corner. That's the one that seems to be its. Now they've caught up to these 2 Aston Martins and the Ferrari. Marcello's, this is what he was waiting for.
Well, absolutely so. We thought, how quickly would they pass the Aston Martins? They'd only been able to do so. They were backed up by Giorgio Roda, and this has suddenly provided a possibility for Raffaele Marcello. He looks, he's outside, he's in front of McLaren, but he's edged himself wide, and Dries Vanthoor is about to pounce on him, trying to take the 2nd place. He's got the better run out of Clark Curve, so a nightmare. Unfortunately, a move was attempted but not pulled off, but Marcello isn't going to back out. He holds on to 2nd place. This is fantastic, John.
Yeah, I mean, he went a long way around the outside, but of course that's the dirtier part of the corner, and you could see how much of the momentum he lost in doing so. And Vanthoor actually just about got alongside, but eventually the Mercedes was able to consolidate into Paddock Hill Bend, and they've still got the problem with these other cars, the Aston Martin and the Ferrari. So, 5 minutes remaining, and heart in mouth time for all 3 lead cars, let alone those that are lap down. So the battle going on, the Aston and the Ferrari, they're oblivious to what's going on behind.
Yeah, but what's actually happened right there, I'm sure Johnny Adam is professional enough to keep out of the way. There was a slight loss of momentum out of Surtees by the McLaren in the lead of this race. Ollie Wilkinson still there. He had a tiny bit of respite, but look, they're side by side, and the race leader needs to get through. He's being compromised, nearly hits the tail of Giorgio Roda's Ferrari, and Marcello is alongside, and Dries Vanthoor's ready to pounce.
He's got past. No, he hasn't.
No, McLaren still just about hanging on, breathe, and there's contact, and the McLaren is taken off, unfortunately clashing into Dingle. Oh, that is disaster for Jota, and that means probably a red flag, one would presume, and that means somehow Marcello stays on the track, and Dries Van Tor is now up into second.
Full course yellow in 20 seconds, full course yellow in 20 seconds.
And for Jota, you really have to feel for them there. In fact, the first three were compromised enormously down there, and unjust returns Roy Wilkinson, who drove a supreme race under enormous pressure. He's out of the car, but there's lots of damage to the barriers down there.
And the car, of course, has gone over the barriers into the effectively what is a copse. So
the car's pulling slowly down the start-finish straight during this full course yellow, under 2 minutes remaining in the race, but unfortunately for Jota, their car very much out of the race, and real frustration. And for the WRT crew and ACA ASP, still looking at the screens, still waiting, but as it is, their car, the 88 Mercedes, Raffaele Marcello, second in the championship, is being followed around at a bated pace, the full course yellow pace, by Dries Van Tor, the championship leader. So for Dries Van Tor, John and Charles Weerts, they wanted to collect points. They will collect a very good haul of points if they hold on to this second place, and that's where they end up, and they don't get promoted to victory. No point getting ahead. They just needed to bank the points, and for the 88 crew, they needed to get as many as they could without the 32 scoring.
Well, we have to wait and see the outcome of this race, because there could be a change. Even though the Mercedes right now will take the checkered flag, there may be an investigation and to see whether there is any liability on the part of Raffaele Marcello for what ended up as being a very severe accident to the lead, the 38 Jota McLaren.
Waved yellow flag on the start-finish line. We've reached the end of an hour, and the checkered flag comes out. So the order as they cross the line is 88 from 32. That's Raffaele Marcello from Dries Van Tor. Third place to Mauro Engel in the number 6 Top Sport Mercedes. Fourth place will go to Alex Fontana, the 14 Lamborghini. That's the leading car in the Silver Cup class. Fifth place to Riachiro Tomita, sharing with Frank Bird. That's a good result for Frank on home ground. Sixth to Rick Breukers, the Mad Panda Motorsport Mercedes. And then seventh place to Fred Vervisch, the 26 Audi from Santalot Racing. Eighth place to number 7 Mercedes of Oscar Tunjo. Ninth place to Ulysses de Pau. That Bentley ran as high as fifth, but unfortunately slipped back to ninth. And Arthur Rougier in this weekend to stand in for the injured Jack Aitken, taking 10th place in number 114 Lamborghini. The winning car in the Pro-Am class will be in 21st position overall, will be Enrique Chavez. So a good run for Barwell on home ground, ahead of the 52 Mercedes from AF Corsa and the 188 Aston Martin that Johnny Adam shares with Alexander West. And there is the Pro-Am winner coming through, the all-Portuguese crew. So job done in race 1. Looking forward to see what they can achieve in the second race. And in fact, right at the end, the Bertolini car got a whole lot closer. So we feel these are probably provisional results. We think maybe some investigations. But Timo Bogoslawski and Raffaele Marcello, ACA ASP number 88 Mercedes, victory, full course yellow conclusion after the incident on lap 38. And Charles Weerts and Dries Van Tor, the championship leaders, crossing the line just 0.6 of a second behind. Lucas Stoltz and Mauro Engel, the Top Sport WRT Mercedes, in third place overall. Then Ricardo Feller and Alex Fontana, good fourth place, but also taking the maximum haul in the Silver Cup. Frank Bird and Riachiro Tomita coming home in fifth in the second WRT Audi. Now you go to the second page of results, and Barwell Motorsport, 21st position overall, but victory in the Pro-Am class for Miguel Ramos and fellow Portuguese racer Enrique Chavez, chased to the finish by Louis Michels and Andrea Bertolini, and Alexander West and British driver Johnny Adam, third in the Pro-Am class, on home ground for the Garage 159 Aston Martin crew. Well, let's take a look at the replay of the incident. You've got Giorgio Roda just in front of the first three cars. The Mercedes is on the outside, the McLaren's on the inside, and Dries Van Tor in the Audi is gaining behind them. John, take it away.
Well, we don't actually see what happened. That's shocking to see a car hit a barrier and then deflect. Here we go. Now here you can see the Ferrari it was squeezed on the left-hand side. McLaren defending, Mercedes trying to find a way through. Now on board with Roda, he's got cars on the other side. There's the McLaren going around. Now we didn't see the car, the Ferrari. Look for the situation. He almost himself had his own major accident.
Let's go down to the race winners, Timo Bogoslawski and Raffaele Marcello, who are down with Gemma and will tell all about how their race went.
Timo, Raffaele, a victory, albeit one that slightly difficult circumstances with the way the race finished. Timo, from your start of the race there, it was a very, very difficult race to keep pace, to get through traffic as well.
Yeah, I was also a bit nervous, so honestly, and also pressure was not there, so have a lot of oversteer and understeer, so yeah, but McLaren completely crazy on the straight. So what power he have, it's not. I cannot. I was able to do it anything. So he was make a better exit and overtake me. So, and also about the pace, I was pushing as much as possible. So, but he was there.
A good first stint from yourself, and then of course Raffaele taking over, really closing the gap on the McLaren. Finally found your way past, but very, very difficult towards the end there.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see the video again, but I mean, from my point of view, I mean, the track is quite narrow. The white Ferrari wanted to let me pass, I think, in the wrong moment when we were side by side with the McLaren. And then, yeah, I don't know, I got sandwiched between the two cars. I mean, I didn't want to push me out, of course. I'm not a dirty driver, I think. So, I mean, it's just unfortunate. I'm sorry for them. I mean, I didn't want to make contact, but the track is really narrow, and yeah, I mean, I know where to go, and then we'll see what's happening after.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as the strains of the Marseillaise, the French national anthem, ring out for AWS, much a French team run by Jérôme Polican on the top step. We have Raffaele Marcello and Timo Bogoslawski, and Timo very keen, clearly, to keep his suit nice and dry and not sprayed with champagne, and he nips off the podium very quickly indeed. Well, we've had drama aplenty in the first of the two races, Fanatec GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Series here at Brands Hatch, and the car's already on the grid for race number 2. Another hour that John Watson, I'm sure, is going to be packed with drama. Maybe, hopefully, not quite as much as in race 1. The first race, it was Timo Bogoslawski on that pole position. So this time it's Raffaele Marcello. All he can do is try and blast away at the start, drop those behind him. If he could do it in the manner that Ben Barnicoat did in the McLaren at the start of the first race, he got just clear at a second a lap. After 14 laps, he was 14 seconds clear. It'd be unlikely that Raffaele Marcelli can do that, but it's a question of what happens with the cars behind.
Well, he who leads into Paddock Hill Bend fundamentally is going to lead the race comfortably.
Well, it's the best place to start looking at row 4. It's Jim Pla and Christopher Haase, Sansalot Racing Audi alongside the ACA ASP Mercedes. So round they come. Raffaele Marcello on the pit wall side, and on the other side, Mauro Engel. It's black Mercedes against white Mercedes as they blast off towards the first corner. And in third place, it's Dries van Tor. Looks tight, looks like grid order. Yeah, Gazou Gugnon on the high side. In fourth place is not gaining positions. He's got to tuck in to 1, 2, 3, fourth position. And we've got the spinner. It's the Rinaldi Racing Ferrari Benja E. Or is it the 52 car? Let's have a quick look. This is a double check. It's actually the Rinaldi Racing car, number 33. So round it went on Benja Etes into the gravel, exiting Paddock Hill Bend.
So hopefully that car is going to come out of the gravel now. Dries van Tor trying to make a move up the inside, and Hugo Sabes, as I thought might have been doing a brilliant job, goes way riding over the curb and all over the grass and loses any gain. And what's going on up here side by side? The Porsche side slams Audi, and both cars got minor damage, but the Audi clearly was pushed off, maybe even in the gravel.
Well, as tidy as the first start was, the second one really was rather messy. The lead cars got through Paddock Hill Bend, and then there was that rotation for the 33 Ferrari. Disappointment for, we talked about the Barwell Lamborghini, that lost ground for Enrique Chavez, the grassy nose at Grand Hill Bend, and then Klaus Bachler getting it wrong, unfortunately, by the looks things, into Surtees, 2 cars running wide. No problems at all for Raffaele Marcello, though.
No, he's made his escape, and I would assume that Marcello will do what he does when he has the lead, and that is basically pull away relatively comfortably. But he's got Mauro Engel to basically shadow him at every footstep. So Mauro Engel, I don't know, so Lucas Stolz couldn't do an awful lot with the competition when he was in race 1. Down the inside comes the Lamborghini, absolutely committed, and contact, and spins around. Which of the Mercedes is that?
Well, that's the Ram Racing car. It's Adam Christodoulou, who was minding his own business to my line there. The Rinaldi Racing car did rejoin. That's good to see. That's at the back of the pack. But 4 incidents at 4 different corners on the opening lap. That is very, very unusual for these drivers.
Well, a very feisty start to race 2. Of course, the danger of doing it is you may have that contact, but you don't know what damage you will have done to your own car. You may have knocked another car off in the process. Just down the hill and down to the Graham Hill Bend. Everybody now beginning to show a little bit more control.
Safety car procedure, because we are in the 3 first laps. We have a car in the gravel in T9. It will be a very short procedure.
Well, the start was very tidy indeed. Raffaele Marcello inside, Engel on the outside in the white Mercedes. Clean start from third place. In fact, very clean, the first dozen. Barwell Motorsport, Enrique Chavez gained a position very early on. Got past Oscar Tunjo to lead the Silver Cup class, but didn't get a great deal further without problem. Still looking from the front end. Marcello got the job done, did what he needed, John.
Yes, and he had the benefit of being on the inside of the track. But watch for the Ferrari contact. Somewhere in the middle of that field, there they are. And around it goes like Topsy into the gravel. You can see nothing with the...
Well, it was the AF Corsa one going up the inside with the white nose and the black nose of the car running in the Pro class for Benjites. The Chilean kept his foot in and has rejoined at the back of the pack. But obviously somewhere in all that grouping, there's a moment for the Barwell Lamborghini that took the Silver Cup class lead. And big switch, but Enrique Chavez didn't lift at all.
Likewise, Gugnon went very wide. That allowed the Audi to consolidate its third position. But this was going on further down through the field.
Yeah,
and it was just a total different mindset from what we've seen earlier in the morning when this opening lap was a lot cleaner, and it's sort of stop-go with it. Ferrari manages to pick up a few spots, or a couple of spots up the hill into Paddock Bend, but have to be very, very tentative because there are cars on the outside, so you can't run wide. You've got to be careful of those, and there's others behind you who are looking to find a way through at the same time.
The last problem we had, the one that put the Ram Racing Mercedes into the gravel, I think was an assist, probably from the 114 Lamborghini. That's the one diving up the inside, and Adam Christodoulou tagged around, couldn't keep it on the black stuff. That's what brought out the safety car. We're about to go racing all over again.
So the Audi will pull off at the entry into pit lane, the safety car, and now the race is in the control of Raffaele Marcello. He's backing everybody up. Backing up, backing up, backing up. Keep it backed up. Then now nail it. There we go. He's off and running. But I think Maro Engel was wise to that. Managed to more or less go at the same pace.
The one I want to look at, who almost made the best restart, is Jules Gugnon in fourth place. Can he get close enough on the run past the pits to make a move on third place? Dries Vanthoor. Vanthoor very, very twitchy. He gets a little bit of retardation as they approach Paddock Hill Bend, but no puff of smoke. The first 10 cars have got through, but Raffaele Marcello in the lead from Maro Engel. Dries Vanthoor in third, fourth place Jules Gugnon. Then there's a little bit of a gap, and then there's Oscar Tunjo, who's leading the Silver Cup class in the car he shares with Yusuf Pohaka. It's the second of the Top Sport WRT Mercedes. But look, just that tiny little gap between fourth and fifth.
Looks to me as if the Audi hasn't quite got tire temperature because the car's not looking comfortable as we watch the Barwell Motorsport benefiting on that set of fresh rubber, and certainly looks very, very feisty behind the wheel right now.
Well, really does. He has little moments, but able to build the momentum all over again to get one of the Santilot Racing Audis in behind him. That's very good news for him. He's got two cars, Christopher Haase and Christopher Mies, the two ultra-experienced Audi racers, between him and the next car in the Pro-Am class, Johnny Adam in the number 188 Aston Martin, which is in 11th place overall. First four starting to stretch their way clear from Oscar Tunjo.
And there is Arthur Rouget, and he's coming in.
So that's the drive-through penalty about to be served, and that's going to drop him right down to the tail of the field, one presumes. So let's see, the Ferrari just coming through.
It's coming, the Lamborghini coming through.
Yeah.
And it's, there's only 3 and a bit minutes before the pit lane opens for the mandatory stops. So that's a harsh penalty, but he had to serve it basically before he got into the pit stop window. Pit stop window is now open by 10 seconds, so no, well, there is a Mercedes. That Maro Engel in, I think it is.
From second.
So second place is taking the earliest opportunity. Maro Engel gets the car into the pit box. Lucas Stoltz helps him exit the car. Some drivers, these are roughly the same size in terms of height and limb length, so they don't need any seat inserts. So very important to get that AMG Talk Sport Mercedes out of scare, is rolling, so that's a good stop.
Well, let's take a look. Maro Engel has brought the car in from second, Jim Pla from sixth, Ria Chiritomita from seventh, Christopher Haase from ninth, I think it was. So the tail end of the top 10, with the exception of the number 6 Mercedes that came in from second. He's back on the track. He's just in front of Arthur Rouget. The key Lamborghini, though, had served a drive-through penalty, but he's not going to be delayed by it. Okay, Dries Vanthoor, the advantage of stopping penultimate garage in the pit lane. The last one was occupied by Jota Sport, but of course they're not here for the second part of the second race after their car damaged in race number 1. Charles Weerts, taller driver, hops in, folds himself into the... Enrique Chavez has gone for a bit of a bounce, and he's been pushing really hard. He's got Johnny Adam right with him, so that's the Pro-Am battle suddenly nose to tail.
Now, we didn't know what actually occurred as Charles Weerts gets rolling in the 32, so again another excellent stop by the WRT Audi team. You didn't see at the beginning. There it is, round the outside. That was the Ferrari returning to the circuit, and Chavez got completely wrong-footed by that, and he'll be not very happy indeed in thinking that the Ferrari maybe could have been more cooperative. Up the inside goes Charles Weerts. Is he going to make the move stick on the number 6 Mercedes? Wow, that's unexpected. I would have thought that Lucas Stoltz might have been that little bit quicker, but Charles Weerts on it immediately on that fresh set of tyres on the 32 Audi. Ricardo Fella running in 17th place right now, and he's running right in the back of Reilly and Panis down through Paddock Bend. Not anything given between either driver or either car. The fellow that little bit later apparently on the brakes, but then the Audis that little bit earlier on the throttle, and the gap then seesaws between where they were going into and coming out of. But Feller is a good racer. I mean, we watched that in race 1 this morning, and again putting pressure on Panis and looking to fill his mirrors. Wow, I had to swerve, had to pull away from the back of the Audi, otherwise he'd have been slamming into the rear. So he was late on the brakes, and Panis was maybe just braking normally. So there it is, and great job done by Marcello. He's built up a very comfortable lead. Ulrich now is relying on the team to do the wheel change and be careful that one of those wheels does not slip out of your hand, does not get loose in the pit lane, as there is what we think is going to be at the end of this. There will be eventually the leader, and it will be number 6 McLaren, number 6 Mercedes that will come through, and waiting to see it exiting out of clearways. There it comes now.
And what you could just see behind the lighting gantry is the car in second place. There's Mauro Engel starting the race. Now Lucas Stoltz, who's put in some very, very quick laps. He goes into second place. Very competitive time. Came out about, well, we'll see. It was about 8 seconds, I would suggest, ahead of the number 6 car. So Timo Bogoslawski, he's got 25 minutes remaining in this race, and he's got to see if they can recover from the loss of their win in the first race to pick up maximum points. They are second in the championship, but that first race miss really cost them big time.
I mean, effectively it's cost them the championship, unless something totally unforeseen happens in the final round or so.
Lights are flashing, we're coming through. Now, Louis Michiels has done the right thing. He stayed over to the hard left of the circuit. Well done. Hasn't impeded the battle, hasn't cost anyone. May have to turn into Hawthorns at some point. Well, he will. But the third place car, Charles Weerts, is through as well. So no disruption.
No, and that was good driving from Louis Michiels. He let this leading battle get through. And you seek that type of cooperation on a tight racetrack like Brands Hatch. And we didn't see that happening this morning, where we had the incident just as we've come through Dingledale into Sheen Curve, and that's the penalty of what took place this morning. And then you saw a perfect example of good motor racing ethics from Louis Michiels.
Watching on Jules Gounon, well, is he enjoying it? Is he not? His car is running in 4th place. Petro Borescu at the wheel, not being pushed too hard, but Yusuf Hacker actually, as I say that, has started to catch. But the first 3 nigh on nose to tail. But onto the final lap we go. It looks though Timo Bogoslawski will get a win he can keep this time around. Of course, he and his teammate Raffaele Marcello won the first race, but they were given a 40-second time penalty for the clash with Ollie Wilkinson's Jota Sport McLaren at the very point we were just discussing at Dingledale, and the drop down from Westfield. And now, even though Lucas Stoltz has got a whole lot closer as they run over the curbing at Graham Hill Bend back onto the black stuff, who's going to get the power down better as they accelerate away from Surtees? Certainly it'll be watched by Charles Weerts. We're looking at him in his cockpit. Dries van Toor scratching his head, but I think he's starting to relax, because certainly there's going to be no challenge from behind. 13.5-second advantage, but we've got to change for the lead, because a poor exit from Surtees, so much momentum was lost that Timo Bogoslawski has backed out of it, and he's allowed Charles Weerts, not Charles, well, Charles Weerts to go around the outside. Has there been contact? Is there a puncture? He certainly looked quite slow going into Surtees. Yes, he's got a puncture because he's weaving around, and the performance of that car is dropping off. So suddenly victory is going to go to Stoltz, and Bogoslawski is just not, and Yves Weerts doesn't dare look on, but now his son Charles is up into second place overall, and Bogoslawski through the gravel on the exit of Stirling's. Will he even get to the line in 3rd place? So championship definitely now in the hands of Charles Weerts, and the driver watching from the pit garage, Dries van Toor. But over the finish line, 0-0-1, a rotten run for TopSport WRT comes to an end with victory, and that final lap so dramatic. Second place and the title to Charles Weerts. You can almost sense the smile and the relief on his eyes. And there's Dries van Toor, another title in the bag, 2 years running in the Sprint Cup.
Well, I'd love to know what happened to Bogoslawski. Was that there? I think it's a right front puncture, because the car went very, very wide. He's pulled in now. So there's bits of the rubber, look, rolling across the road. Is that a rim or is that a bit of rubber? I think it might be even the rim.
No, it's the rim, but one feels, so it's just come off.
Don't get out of your car, stay in the car.
Oh, you can absolutely understand that. So in fact, classified in 8th place overall, because Yusuf Hacker, who won the Silver Cup class, came through ahead of Frank Bird, who was second in class. So they got through just ahead of the slowing, punctured Timo Bogoslawski. So big frustration for the Russian. A victory in the Pro-Am class looks as though it's going to go to the team that have had it in both hands since the start of this race. It's going to be 21st position overall, but victory in Pro-Am to the number 77 Barwell Motorsport crew. Enrique Chavez very, very busy in the start of the race, and Miguel Ramos bringing that home. So a great result for them on home ground for Mark Lemmer and the guys. And Alexander West took second in class, but Pierre Dudonné congratulating his champion for the second year running in the Sprint Cup, Dries Van Tor. More plaudits down at WRT. It's proving to be a very good August for them. Hands up, waving to the marshals. But let's catch up with his co-champion, Dries Van Tor.
Dries, congratulations, you are a champion once again.
Yeah, starting to sink in. It's a bit, it's cool. I mean, I don't really know what to say. It's a bit emotional to be two-time sprint champion running up. Together with Charles, I mean, he's such an amazing kid, and he has his pluses and minuses, but he does a hell of a good job, and the team is, honestly, I'm so happy to be part of this team and to be part of Audi, to be always giving us a good car to fight, and it's a big thanks to them as well, and yeah, to my parents and everybody who supported me.
Incredible teamwork from you guys and from the team. Go celebrate, go on, off you go.
Well, we've heard from Dries Van Tor, and it's only fair to interview his co-champion, his teammate, his pal, Charles.
Charles, if we could just get you to pop the mask on. Congratulations, an absolutely outstanding drive from both of you, and great work from the team.
Well, that was quite an eventful, actually not for you, but for me it was a race. It was just about taking zero risk and trying to secure the podium and maximum points, which we did. I don't know what happened to the 88 at the end. It's a bit of a shame for him because they had the race under control, but nevertheless we are P2, and mathematically we are out of reach. So it's a great day for us, and I'm extremely happy, and I think it's a good occasion to thank everybody at WRT, my teammates, my father, and everybody that support us for this amazing season, which is not yet finished, but yeah, it's already done.
Well done, fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, a victory, well deserved, but slightly unexpected perhaps, with the 88 dropping away at the end.
Yeah, I mean, commiserations to those guys. I mean, we know exactly what it's like. We've had a tough year, quite a bit of bad luck our way, so obviously it feels good to have some good luck like this come our way, but yeah, tough break for these guys. I think they had it in the bag pretty much, but just super happy. Awesome drive by Luca, and great job by the team. Congrats to WRT, obviously they smashed it this year.
They did indeed smash it this year, but you guys certainly showed great performance today.
Yeah, finally a good weekend for us. That's what the team deserved, definitely, because they're pushing really hard. We try always. We went through some tough luck, as Mauro said already, but yeah, finally a good weekend, and yeah, congrats to WRT.
Well done, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Well, let's take a look at the results. They'll be coming up. And victory at last after a torrid season for TalkSport WRT, going to Mauro Engel and Luca Stoltz, who pushed so hard in the second half of the race. And at the end, it was 1.9 seconds to good. Chavez able to back off and celebrate not just second place, but more importantly, a second Sprint Cup championship in successive years, shared with Dries Van Tor, Jules Gounon and Petru Umberescu, getting at least one ACA ASP Mercedes into the top three, when the sister car, Timo Bogoslawski and Raffaele Marciello, their car ended up with a puncture, in fact with the wheel rim coming off, but finishing in 6th place. So after the national anthem, the champagne, and the mechanic or a team representative very happy they've got a cap on, just keeping that out of the eyes. It really does sting. But a release after a weekend where overtaking was hard, racing was guaranteed. Had a few incidents, but you can now see as Dries Van Tor hurls his cap down into the pit lane, knocking bottles, chinking bottles with Chavez. Now at last they can have a bit of a glug. So champagne for the time for the Silver Cup runners, but great pleasure there for TalkSport WRT. So here we are on the top step of the podium, Barwell Motorsport, Enrique Chavez and Miguel Ramos. One started, one finished. Second place to Alexander West and Johnny Adam on home ground for the Aston Martin team, Garage 59. And third place to SMPS Automotive. That's Dominic Baumann and Valentin Pierberg, who took third place in class. So that's it from the GT World Challenge here at Brands Hatch. Thank you very much indeed.